Welcome back to another episode of What in the Ads is Going On. If you haven't heard the big news, first of all, you've been living under a rock. No, I'm kidding. It's if you're not in the chatbot world, I wouldn't assume that you would know this, but we are going to blow your mind today. I am joined here today with a very special guest, a very good friend of mine, and one of the most brilliant people that I know in the Instagram marketing industry. I'm pleased to introduce Miss Jenn Herman. Jenn, hello. How are you?
Hello, I'm so excited we get to geek
I
out,
know. We don't usually get to geek out on camera together. It's kind of a nice, rare event.
right?
Yes, yes. So I am very, very excited to have you here today because you are the goddess of all things Instagram. And there was some pretty big news that broke last week. So would you like to touch on that?
Oh, you want me to do this? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, so Instagram officially announced, not that no one didn't know it was coming because there was a closed beta going on, but they did officially announce last week that chatbots, aka automation, is rolling out to Instagram now. So those accounts that have 10,000 to 100,000 followers got access as of last week. It may have taken a day or two for it to hit. And those accounts with less than 10,000 will be getting it in a future rollout in the near future. This is not something we're going to be waiting months and months to get access. But so for those of you who are familiar with chatbots, this is super exciting because we're bringing it to Instagram. For those of you that aren't familiar with chatbots, this is super exciting because we're bringing it to Instagram. And it's going to change, like transform things that you can do on Instagram that we've been so limited to in so many ways. So I mean, Amanda and I know this, like I'm one button Jen, right? I avoid integration and complication at all levels. So for me to be geeking out over like the excitement and the capabilities and the opportunities that this brings, people are like, okay, maybe we should be paying attention because Jen's actually excited about this.
This literally is the one thing that of all of the other businesses who aren't geeking out on chatbots, who don't really care that much, who've been watching them go around Messenger for the longest time, been like, I'll get to bots when I need to. This is the one announcement that I'm like, I want to bang the pots together as loud as I can, make as much noise on this, because we're going to go over some pretty cool stuff in this short broadcast. We're going to keep this one short. We're not going to go on for forever on this one. But we need to explain to business owners who are like, oh, chatbots and automations doesn't really apply to me. I'm like you, Jen, one button Jen. I don't do this stuff. We are going to get you excited about why you need to be paying attention to this right now. Let's put it this way. Messenger marketing chatbots on Facebook for the last 4 years has been one giant dress rehearsal for what is about to unfold. So, Jen, I know, let's just cut right into it instead of waiting, keeping everybody waiting. So we've got, I say 3 ways, you say 4 ways that bots are going to be used on Instagram. I just want to give a giant shout out, by the way, to Lindy, who is here. She's like, I'm so excited for it to finally hit Instagram. Lindy, thank you so much. Thank you, Juan. Anybody else who's catching this live, feel free to pop in, drop some comments on. We want to say hi to you and know that you're here geeking out. Whoa, we have Mr. Mike Alton is in the house.
Mike Alton!
Mike Alton! Mike, how's that watermelon going? All right. So
I'm still.
So, all right, let's talk about the different ways that businesses can actually use messenger automation on Instagram. We're not going to get super geeky and super technical. We're just going to plain black and white explain to you how you're going to be using these on Instagram. Go for it.
All right. So yeah, to Amanda's point, there are, depending on how you look at it, 3 or 4 ways that you can use this. So really, and the reason why is because what are 2 of them are really one, they just kind of are technically a different entry point. So one of the things you'll be able to do is have an entry point via direct message. Meaning if somebody sends you a direct message on Instagram with a certain keyword or set of keywords that you set, then it's going to launch that automation. So it could be something as simple as promo and you send them a promo code. It could be something as simple as, know more or learn more, and that could send them information about your business, how to connect with you, contact you. They could be really simple automations. I built a much more complicated one because I have really good friends named Amanda who encourage me to do crazy things, but if you go to my Instagram at JENNS_trends and type the word connect, CONNECT, into a direct message, that will launch that flow, and that has a much more robust kind of very convoluted chat with very different options and selections that you can choose, and kind of takes you through a bit more complicated. But that's going to be one of the biggest entry points, is going to be DMs, because that also ties into, if someone replies to your Instagram story, that is another entry point, which is essentially a DM, right? Because when you reply to a story, you actually end up in DMs. So those are the two that are basically the same, even though they're considered different things. And when you think about how people interact on Instagram, to be able to connect with you and open up the inbox, they're literally inviting you and they're asking you for information, whether it's replying to a story or sending you a message. This is going to just change like that entire messaging platform for what we do with brands on Instagram.
Well, and to piggyback on that, so part of the part that gets me the most excited about this is there are accounts like mine, for example. I'm under 10,000 followers. For those of you who don't know and who aren't on Instagram every day and don't live, eat, breathe, and sleep on that like Jen does, once you hit 10,000 followers, you get a swipe up option to be able to send people directly to a link from stories. And stories is where a lot of the action is at. So to have the power to send people off to a direct link right from stories means that Instagram is a much more powerful tool for you. Well, up until this point, most of us, normal folks, have not been able to use that. However, with the stories reply feature that you'll be able to use some messenger automation with, this is going to be a complete game changer. Because now, instead of having, hey, swipe up to go to blah, blah, blah link, now you can say reply with the keyword awesome sauce to go to get your free ticket, or to get your coupon code, or to get your really cool awesome sauce download, whatever it is. So those of us who haven't had the swipe up link feature are now going to be able to replace that with instead using messenger automation. And not only that, when you're just swiping up on a link, okay, no big deal. You swipe up, you go to a link, and then you either bounce off that site or carry on about your day. No big deal. But getting you into a direct message, into a conversation where you can converse and have some fun and some spice and some flavor, or some mustard at that point, with your actual chatbot, to be able to engage people on this whole other level that is untapped potential, is absolutely, it's beyond the icing on the cake. It is so exciting that we can get people to DM us, get something of value in return, and share a little bit of our personality through our messenger bots on top of that. So that's
get the tracking for it, right? Because unless you're using a UTM link or something as the swipe up link when you have more than 10,000, or unless you have a dedicated landing page that is tracking that conversion, rate and everything else, even if you do the swipe up link in Instagram stories, you don't really have a lot of measurability off of it. But this, again, allows you to have trackability. You can see how many people, hit link in your stories. You can see how many people went and followed that link from there. Like, now you have a better conversion rate to see how many people are moving forward. And it's going to allow you to, like you said, follow up with that conversation. Like, you can follow up personally later on and be able to say, like, hey, did you get that download? What did you think about it? Like, you can follow up immediately back and be like, hey, if you have any more follow-up questions, feel free to let me know. Like,
Stephanie Lou is in the house. She's gonna make us laugh while we're on our soapboxes here of how excited we are. Be still my heart, she said. UTM. Okay, we're gonna keep it together, right? We can do this.
I know, this is gonna turn into like a 360 chat unintentionally, where we're just gonna make like complete fools of ourselves on camera.
And those of you watching, but we have some pretty awesome magic going on right now. So myself, Jenn Herman, who is our lovely guest here today, as well as Mike Alton, who is hanging in the comments, and Stephanie Lou, who is making us laugh on screen because she's good at that. We are all part of the 360 marketing squad, where the four of us, we cover the 360 degrees of marketing. I don't have my book within grabbing reach. You do. We're also co-authors on the Ultimate Guide to Social Media Marketing, published through Entrepreneur Press. So we have some pretty amazing powerhouses of talent in the house today, and we're trying our hardest to keep it from laughing. We got this. Keep composure. So, all right. So we've just touched basically on the keyword feature.
Yeah.
So when it comes to messenger automation on Instagram, one of the, like, I'd say the flagship feature that all of us are going to be super excited to dive into is the fact that we can now leverage somebody responding in a DM with a keyword, whether that's direct messaging you out of the blue, whether that's responding to a story. It's basically triggering a direct message. And if they say that particular special, super secret, awesome keyword, then you can send them into all sorts of different wonderful automations, send them links, send them coupon codes, send them whatever the heck you want. Well, within reason, because there are some limitations. Now, before we get into the limitations, we're not done on the excitement train here of like blowing business owners' minds right now. What's another one of the things that you can do with messenger automation on Instagram?
And so this is the one that's probably going to get most people the most excited, which is why I didn't want to mention it first, because I want people to get excited about the one that I'm excited about.
I'm excited about the other.
People aren't necessarily thinking about the DM capacity. The one that most people are aware of or that are most likely to get excited about is the comment tool. So you will be able to leave a comment on a feed post. This does not currently work on Reels. It does not work on, other types of content. But a feed post, you're going to be able to leave a comment, and that comment will be the trigger for the bot. So likewise, it's going to open up the DM, right? Everything's going to end up coming back to the DMs. It's a messaging tool. You're going to have to be in, the direct message feature to have these things work. But just like Amanda was saying with the link issue with the swipe ups, nobody has link dropping capability on Instagram when it comes to feed posts. Everything has to be link in bio, send me a DM, click the shop button, whatever it is. You don't have a link functionality. And I hope, and I still stand by this, I hope they never put link capability on Instagram, because I think it will ruin Instagram and make it a link dropping platform. But this is the workaround to that. So you would be able to say to people, leave a comment below or use this word or, that sort of thing. And when they leave a comment, that's going to trigger that flow. That's going to be the same thing, right? Send them to the link for your latest blog post, your latest YouTube video, whatever it is that you're trying to drive traffic to, and be able to have essentially that link sharing capacity on Instagram, but in another controlled, measurable, valuable way. And it's targeted, right? It's not just for any and every link. You're going to have to be specific where you're sending them, but it's going to give you so much capability that right now nobody has on Instagram.
So Jen, you are all excited about the link capability. You're always about the link capability and the metrics. And from my perspective, I get excited about the engagement metrics and the engagement numbers, because when it comes to, so those of you watching, if you're not already aware, this show is What in the Ads is Going On. I teach Facebook advertising, and I am a complete Facebook advertising nerd. And when it comes to Facebook advertising, one of the early on strategies that we use when we're warming up an account, when we're starting to build momentum, we need engagement, because the engagement is something that we can retarget based on. So anyone who engages with you on Instagram or engages with you on Facebook, we can create a retargeting audience, remarket with additional content to reach those particular people. People conversing with you in DMs, that is engagement. So the more you can get people moving from passively consuming your content to actively engaging with you, not only are you getting more DMs, so you have the, as Jen likes to say, the link capabilities, but then from the Amanda side of things, you are squeezing engagement out of people who are just, they're sitting there waiting for an opportunity to get excited about you, excited about your brand, excited about everything that you have to offer. But it just, on Instagram, it's been just a little more difficult. You don't necessarily want, I know even I personally sometimes hesitate off of engaging with somebody's stories, because it does open a DM, and maybe I don't feel like DMing that person. But when we get into this area of Instagram automated messaging coming, there's a huger, or not a huger.
It's fine.
I'm just getting excited. I'm making up words. You have the opportunity now to be able to engage with accounts and to get what you're there for, and not necessarily have to be into an in-depth conversation with somebody and have your attention on the spot. I can comment to the story, get it delivered, and then execute on it later.
And it's worth pointing out from and Amanda, she geeks out because of the engagement for the ads, for the retargeting. I geek out on engagement because algorithmically, it's gonna help you, right? So when you think of how Instagram works, it is not the same as Facebook. I've talked about this a bazillion different times, but and it's not weighted in the same way, meaning if all you do is stop and look at my post on a feed, or you scroll through a carousel, that is essentially the same weighting as if you like or leave a comment. If you actively engage in any way with my content, that's positive ranking algorithmically. But by having this way to give people the chance to leave that comment, open up that DM, that is active engagement, right? It's not just watching it. Same thing with stories. Someone passively watching your stories, positive ranking algorithmically. But when they tap on a sticker, when they reply to it, that's active engagement that is even more positive ranking algorithmically. And this puts your content higher in the feeds of those individuals. That's going to mean they're going to see more of your content. They're going to have more opportunity.
Talk about the stories too, the ranking of the stories in order.
And that, so it's the same thing, right? Where like feed is, obviously vertical, stories is horizontal, but the more someone is likely to interact with your stories, the closer you get to that number one position. And so I always use the example that Amanda is the only person on the planet whose stories I watch every single one, because I actually hate stories. Everybody knows this. But I don't watch anyone's stories frequently unless it's Amanda, and then also Mike and Steph. I watch theirs frequently as well. So if they have new stories, they're guaranteed first placement because those are the ones I always watch. But if I actively engage with somebody else and only passively engage with other people, those that I'm actively engaging with are going to get that higher ranking algorithmically and show up higher in that stories feed. So regardless of which one, these automation tools are upping the ante in the ability to drive that engagement just for your algorithm reasons, for your retargeting reasons. All this is like, it's just positives across the board.
I'm trying really hard to. It's like I have an
attention
attention
problem. I'm not
problem.
even reading them.
I know.
I will lose my train of thought.
I know. I'm like
even
trying to pay attention. I'm trying not to laugh too much. I'm trying to stay focused on what you're saying. I can't help it because we've got all of our amazing talented friends are in the comments right now. And I'm also excited that people like Lindy are here, and Lindy is hearing us get excited over this, and can already see that there are so many different ways, ideas to be able to actually leverage this. It's not just us geeking out from Jen in algorithms and link accessibility, and me with engagement and ads. We are on the extreme ends of the scale of how we plan on stress testing this and breaking the system and doing all sorts of crazy things.
Which we totally have in works, by the way. Amanda and I are working behind the scenes in ways that none of you are even aware of right now for how we're going to be like testing all of this stuff. So stay tuned.
Oh, these collaborations should not be allowed because somebody's bot's going to get hurt. But anyway,
probably mine.
Yeah, probably yours first. Yours first in this case. It's okay. We can heal it. We'll make it better. As long as we don't get anybody banned, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
But yeah, as far as what you can do with these things, so you're hearing Jen get excited, you're hearing me get excited, and let's focus back on, okay, what can you actually do with it? So let's talk. I actually have a giant, I'm not going to pull it up, but I have a massive brainstorm sheet of.
Oh, you should put it up. Put it right in front of your face. It won't work.
I'll just put it in like the background here. There we go. All right, so let me rattle off some of these, and then Jen, you can elaborate on some of these, because if you're watching this right now, whether you're live right now or on the replay, I want you to know what you can do with this stuff. We're not just talking about, it's such a great feature, this and that. No, what are you actually going to do with it? We're going to tell you. So you can do giveaways. You can use this to leverage for contests, for giveaways. You can deliver coupon codes, sales promotions with it. You can have links to YouTube, off to MLS if you're a realtor, links to the different properties from your Instagram. You can send them off to your blog. You can basically send people to places where you would like to
like high volume destinations that you would normally want to promote content. Yeah.
What about downloading a PDF? You can send people content to get lead magnets, to download things. There's event registration. Event registration, ticketing. You can do list building. You can acquire email addresses. And we all know, with all of the changes going on as far as Facebook is concerned, in Facebook, when I say Facebook, I mean Facebook and Instagram, with all the changes with GDPR, it's getting more and more critical that you are actively list building and keeping your customers accessible outside of just the regular social media platforms. So list building. Hey, you can grow your followers. You can use this to grow your followers. There's more. I'm not going to go over all of it. Guys, like, are you picking up on what we're putting down here? You can
And that's
have
worth pointing out. Like, so many people, I think, get in their head that these automation tools are things like, what are your office hours? When are you open? Direction. Like, they think of it as a customer service tool for frequently asked questions, which absolutely it can do. But there is so much more that, like, and Amanda, I'm totally going to throw you under the bus with this one. She designed some really cool bots. She did you did the pizza conference recently, and you developed a virtual circumstance where you
the rocket bot.
The rocket bot.
Or the rocket pizza. Sorry.
But there's all these ways that are very unique, that aren't some of these things can be very complicated, right? Or they can be really simple, and it doesn't have to be what you would normally think of with a simple customer service tool. Although those are good to have as well, because if someone does, especially if you have a global audience that's checking in, for me, my audience is around the world at any time zone, right? So people send me messages at 2:18 a.m. and 12:42 p.m. and all over the time map. So having something to reply automatically and answer those frequently asked questions can be valuable. But think outside the box. There are some limitations and there are some constraints, obviously, within the tool. But to be able to just say, okay, if I work within those guidelines, my options and creativity are my only limitation. You can totally get creative. You can create the choose your own adventure routes. You can create a whole new experience for your audience to get that added value from you, to connect with you, to
I'm not gonna lie,
build your audience.
When you said throw me under the bus, I was convinced you were going to be talking about the dating bot.
I was going to, and then I decided to not do it.
You pulled back. You hesitated there.
I was like, I don't know if I should really talk about the dating bot.
You can talk about the dating bot. The dating bot doesn't live in actual. You describe it first. It doesn't actually live in a real environment yet.
Right, because I am trying. Well, all of us are trying to convince her that she needs to actually build this and sell this. So basically, you guys, this is the genius that goes on in Amanda's head when you let her be creative. So she built this bot. So let's just say you are on a dating app and you meet a person that you potentially think maybe is a connection. So don't send them your number. Don't send them your WhatsApp. No, you send them to your message bot. And the message bot asks a series of questions related to what you're looking for in a relationship. So, for example, are you married, single, divorced, have a significant other? And they choose the option. And whatever option they choose, it takes them to the reply of, nope, not for me, or yes, you can move on to the next round. And it goes through a series of questions to filter out who you should be dating.
And depending on how they answer, because some answers are more desirable than others. Some are kind of lukewarm. So depending on how you answer, I am scoring you with points in the background.
Yeah.
So then depending on, once you get to a certain point, depending on how many points you have, that determines whether or not you can proceed or whether or not you have to continue into some additional rounds of questioning to figure this out. And the questions are, they're all over the map. So it's definitely a not safe for work bot. But
it is not. But it's amazing.
There will be, and Lindy is like, yes, build it. It
right?
really is, because you can personalize it.
I need support over here to get her. I want her to build this and actually launch it and sell it. People would buy this and literally be able to customize a couple questions, male versus female. You could literally put in what you want. Oh my God, this is life-changing when it comes to dating online.
This is really important. This is good that we not great that we brought up the dating, but I knew it was right on the tip of your tongue. I could see it.
I know. I was like,
we're gonna go there. But this is really great to segue into limitations, because I know I am pumped up and excited about bots on Instagram. You're pumped up and excited because Instagram is life. But to give you a little background, I come from building messenger marketing chatbots on Facebook and have been for the last 4 years. And we've gone through quite the evolution over the years of this massive swell of it being the wild, wild west. You can pretty much do anything with little regulation and go for it. And then we've basically had all of our wrists have been slapped, and we've had a whole bunch of features taken away. And then and then depending on what country you're in, we have more restrictions, and a lot of other features that we used to have available have now been taken away. And just to simplify this, I like to describe this like using different Lego blocks. So imagine imagine if you had a bag of 10 different colors of Lego blocks, and you can arrange them in any way, shape, or form or manner that you want to build a spaceship or a unicorn or whatever you want. You can build anything with that combination of 10 different colors, right? But these features, imagine if some of those features are being taken away, and you can no longer have, for example, buttons, but you can have quick replies. You can no longer have download a PDF or insert an audio message, but you can have links that go off to different places. So imagine if your giant colorful bag of 10 different colors of Lego bricks was whittled down to 5. And then those are the different building blocks and bricks that you have to, again, infinitely build out whatever you feel creative with, but you are only working with 5 colors. Now with Instagram rolling this out, imagine
you like
that
2
we're
colors.
starting. Yes, exactly. I was just about to say, imagine you're starting with like 2 colors, and then I'm sure it's going to grow from there. But it's so much more basic than the freedoms that we have had over on the Facebook side. So as much as we're getting excited, there are a couple limitations.
I think it's worth talking about. I mean, we everything we're talking about is really hypothetical. Like Instagram and Facebook tell us nothing, right? Like no one ever actually tells you how these things work. They'll tell you what you can't do, but they don't tell you why or anything else. But part of it, I think, is because, like you were saying, bots got so wild west over on Facebook, and it got so out of control that they were like, we're not making that mistake on Instagram. We're going to lock it down to start with, and then we'll test out expansions. But also, this is not Facebook. This is not LinkedIn. This is not Twitter. Instagram has always, in spite of copying a million other things, it has always retained a little bit of that uniqueness of not being like those other platforms. And I think it's really important that as they roll this out and as we get more comfortable with these types of features, that it still retains its Instagramness, that it doesn't become too much like those other platforms, even though Facebook is unifying all the message platforms with WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and all that sort of stuff. They're trying to still keep it Instagram-y. And I think that's part of the reason we're keeping it constrained, in addition to they don't want all the, the messaging marketers from Facebook to go nuts over on Instagram and overwhelm the platform. So there's some handcuffs involved in this. That's for sure.
And on top of that, when we're talking about how Instagram is not Facebook, it hasn't been. Instagram has traditionally been the highest lockdown security when it comes to any kind of messaging automation. It was written into their whole terms of use that you cannot have any type of messages that are automated messages that take place on Instagram. So for years, anyone who is trying to use any form of messenger bot on Instagram, it's literally just a matter of time before they get shut down and before they face consequences. So that's been traditionally how it's always been. And Instagram has always been so strict, which is part of what keeps it more clean, more pure, less spam. But now that Instagram is opening this up, I do want to give my prediction on part of the reasons and rationale as to why this is now, why we've gone from no automation to, well, okay, here's your 2 colors of Lego bricks you can go play with over there. And I think it comes back down to shopping. So you now see Facebook and Instagram now have Facebook and Instagram shops. Facebook wants to bite off a giant chunk of that e-commerce shopping pie that Shopify already has a big chunk of, WooCommerce has a big chunk of, Amazon owns like the entire pie factory. But when it comes to this, Facebook is starting to lay down the groundwork to be able to increase the shopping on the platform without having to leave the platform or connect to a third-party platform. Well, when you do shopping, you can have there are features that exist now, such as checkout in Instagram, checking out right within Messenger, right where you can pay inside Messenger, and you can get a receipt and everything right inside Messenger and have transactions take place. Now, when you have a transaction, you need those transactional messages, which are automated messages. So I think this is being opened up with the intention of shopping and e-commerce. It's not being opened up with the intention of, hey, marketers, come on over here. Yeah. No. And I think that's why, to Jen's point, we've got the training wheels on, and we're probably going to have training wheels on for quite a long time. But even with those training wheels, my goodness, people, are you seeing what we can do here? Even with just keeping it very, conservative on not going crazy on automations. The basic keys to the palace they are giving us are basically giving us a ton of creativity and the ability to engage people in ways that we have never had the ability to on Instagram.
And that's, I think, worth pointing out, like 2 colors is better than 0 colors, right? It's still better to have this with training wheels than to not have it at all. Instagram has, over the last number of years, done so much to try to put more functionality into DMs, right? Like they added the canned response options with the quick replies in there. They started allowing, the multiple inboxes to try to keep everything organized. They were trying to open up more features and functionality. But the reality was the only way they were going to get it to get the functionality that people actually want was to go this route. They have to open up the API. They have to open up the automation process. They have to allow people to have the tools that we have on every other platform to have that level of customer service in the DMs. And honestly, that was a sticking point for a lot of brands on Instagram. They're like, I can set up automation on all these other platforms that will automatically reply, that will handle our customer service, that will generate a conversation with our customers or our audience. And Instagram couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. So they had to finally embrace this. And they're, like you said, I think they're doing it in a way that is very strategic. I think they're doing it in a way that's very cautious, enough to get people excited and using it, but under a lot of limitations. And I don't fault them for it. I'm here for it.
I'm on the same page. Instagram has always been the hands-on platform, not hands-off, where you physically have to have a person on, logged in on the mobile device, behind a person behind that profile. And now we're finally starting to get more features. I want to give a shout out to Lindy, who's asking, is this going to be open to all the current Facebook chatbot programs? Yes. No. In beta, it was open. The API was open to a select number of messenger marketing chatbot programs. But right now, all the big players have had access to the beta. They've all been working with their developers. They've been testing, and now it's rolling mainstream. So you can pretty much access this through any service. But just again, if you're just popping on recently, at the beginning, Jen mentioned the limitations right now. So as of right now, immediately, if you have over 10,000 followers, 10,000 to 100,000, not more than that, just between 10,000 and 100,000, you can access this right now. Starting in July, the rest of people like me, over, was it 1,000 to 100,000?
I think it was 1,000 to 10,000. I think was the next one.
We'll be getting the next round in July, and then August it opens up to everybody. So if you're not seeing that, if you have under 1,000 followers
but also,
right now,
business only.
Yes.
Not creators. And that's worth pointing out because this is API controlled, right? So likewise with your scheduling tools, like your dashboard management tools, like Amanda and I are obviously both ambassadors for Agorapulse and all that. You can't use that on a creator profile or a personal profile. This only works if you're a business profile. And this is going to, in the past, have always been like, well, creator business, there's very little difference. Kind of pick the lesser of two, which of poison you really want, whether you want music or do you want scheduling. Now, if you want to be able to use this messaging feature, you're going to have to be a business profile, and that may mean you have to sacrifice music. So just keep that in mind if you are an account that uses a lot of music.
And I want to, and Lindy's saying, oh, good, I have to go check if I'm business or creator. And just giving a shout out to Derek here asking, do you have a video on how to get my business Facebook shop to appear on Facebook Marketplace? You're going to want to be doing catalog ads. So you want to have your shop connected to your Facebook page, and you want to be running some catalog ads, and then use the marketplace placement. So definitely, yes, there will. I've got more content coming out shortly as it pertains to shopping, because the Facebook and Instagram shops experience has also been evolving and changing. Now, I don't know if, Jen, I don't know if you've been playing around with any of the older shops. There's now the older shops, and there's like a newer, there's newer updated versions. So Facebook is giving me warnings and things for any accounts that I have that have like the old shops experience. Kind of still looks the same, but they're really tightening up the features inside there. And again, I think it's all just these incremental moves on Facebook moving closer to biting off a giant chunk of that e-commerce profile. And Derek is like, I know it was unrelated. Thanks for addressing. I'm glad. I'm glad you guys are asking questions. This is what in the ads is going on. The show takes place weekly. We just geek out on everything ads related here. If you're not already a member of Swift Kick in the Ads, that is where we go deep on everything related to Facebook advertising, where you can learn all about this stuff. And then I also drag people like Jenn Herman in for some custom training. So that is definitely going to be happening in the near future as we start to do more collabs and roll out more information on Instagram messenger bots, messenger automation. Jen, I know that I've kept you a little bit long here. Do you have any closing thoughts on bots coming to Instagram?
I mean, I think the best I can do is just kind of reiterate really quickly, like what we've been saying, and like there's a reason why Amanda and I are geeking out over this. It's something that there's still going to be a lot of evolutions, and even like Amanda and I said, we're still testing it. Like we don't even know all the limitations. We're like, oh wait, if we do that, does that happen or does this happen? Like we don't know. So we're going to be running some tests and doing some random, bot things to figure out, what happens when certain things are triggered, what happens on the back end, when do things fire or not fire. So there's a lot of things that still need to be worked out. And I personally am super excited about this. Like I said, for me to be excited is kind of a big deal. And I feel like that means the rest of the world should be paying attention, because Jen doesn't get excited about a lot of things like this. I'm like, oh, yay, that's fun. But I'm like legit excited because it really is going to mean such a difference for brands and how we can use Instagram. This is honestly, and I can say this straight faced, this is going to transform the experience on Instagram. It's a completely different environment. And as your customers and as your audience, as people in general get more familiar with this, it's going to become expected. Mm-hmm. They're going to be like, why can't I get a link by commenting on your post? Why can't I reply to your DM and get the promo code? Like, as this rolls out over the next number of months, it's still going to be fluffy and testy and awkward and broken dead end flows and weirdness happening. But within about a year, it would be my prediction, this is going to be very commonplace. It's not going to be something like, reels and stories level of, commonality. But in terms of customer service, this is going to become a norm. And if you can get in with it now, start testing it, start playing with it, educate your audience in the process. You're going to have to tell people, leave a comment with, or send a DM with. Like, you can't just be like, oh, people are just going to know it's there. You're going to have to hold some hands, give people screenshots, talk people through it, talk about it in your stories, explain what it looks like, educate your audience, but bring them along on the ride, because people love to be the first ones to try something, test something, be something. Next thing you know, you just collected a whole bunch of emails or gave away, some promo codes and got a bunch of sales that you weren't intending to do with a campaign, but it all happened because you were testing. So embrace it, try it, believe in it, give it time to actually work. It's not going to work overnight. Some people won't reply.
I can't believe I'm hearing Jenn Herman say all of this. I can't. No, you don't understand. This is one button, Jen. I never, ever thought I would ever see the day come where Jen is like, you need chatbots, you need to be doing this, you need to not get left behind. I'm like, are we in
I should point out, and I know we've been talking a lot about a lot of things. I should point out, this seems scary. Okay, you guys, like legit, I watched Amanda build a bot for me for Facebook, and I was like, whoa.
Well, that's because you watch me crank it out in 20 minutes or less with going click, knowing exactly what I needed to do.
Yeah. It was, and I was scared. I was scared to do this when I got the Instagram functionality, but it actually really isn't that scary. And to Amanda's point, this is one button, Jen. Yes, I can do complicated things, but I don't like to do complicated things, right? I like to literally be like, go live. I don't want to connect 9 different cords and OBS and Ecamm and all these things and no, mama goes live, right? So for me to be able to say, I can do these, I can build these bots, it's a really easy flow mechanism. You can see exactly what happens. Now, the more complicated ones, you might want to reach out to an expert like Amanda to help out. But you can do this. It's not scary. It's not overwhelming. It's a really simple user interface with all the major, tools out there. I'm personally repping ChatFuel. They've been working with me. I've been working with them through the beta process, through doing some testing. So I'm personally, getting deep into that dashboard, but you guys, it's not scary. So if I can leave you with any thought, it's that like literally if I can do this, anybody can do this.
My heart is proud right now. I just want to give you like the biggest digital hug. I can't believe.
I want a real hug.
I know. Soon. As soon as these borders open up, I'm booking I'm lying. I was going to say, as soon as these borders open up, I'm booking a flight down to see you. That's a lie. As soon as these borders open up, you're helping me book a flight. Jen and I have a history of every time I go to book a flight, I book it on the wrong day. So now I get Jen on video, and we together go through it on video together so that I don't book it on the wrong day.
Screen share, and we make sure she books the right flight at the right time.
How crazy is this? Like, I can build complex chatbots. I can do really complicated things with ads, and I can do all these really crazy. My brain works in a really cool way in that side.
Yeah.
Simply booking a flight, I need one button, Jen. All right. Well, with that, I think we're gonna wrap this out because we could geek out on this literally for days. But this is just the teaser. The whole point of this, everybody, is just to get you as excited as we are about the fact that there are very simple, wonderful, engaging things that you can do on Instagram now that never used to exist. And we want you to pay attention now. Be the first in the door. Don't be the last to try and play catch up after the fact. Those who have been building bots for several years now, this is going to be a breeze transitioning over. Those who have not been paying attention because they don't like it, it's a tiny little learning curve, but it is still absolutely doable. Start now before the rules change again and before things get more complicated. So I hope that everyone watching is just as excited as we are. And if not, we're going to keep getting you our mission. We're going to get you this excited. We've got content coming. We've got bots that are building in the back end. We've got all sorts of fun for you. So this is just literally the tip of the bot iceberg. Dress rehearsal is over, a la Facebook bots, and now this is the real deal. It is here. I also want to give a giant shout out to the sponsor of this show, What in the Ads is Going On. A giant shout out to Restream. So Restream is what we are using right now to multi-stream this broadcast. That's why you're probably seeing our faces over on YouTube. You're seeing our faces in different Facebook groups. You're seeing us on different Facebook pages. That's all through the power of Restream. So if you are like One Button Jen, and don't like the complicated setups and complicated technology to be able to live stream and enjoy this and have some fun and build your own studio and bring in logos and information and titles and all of that, Restream has a beautiful little studio for you. You definitely need to go and check it out, sign up for it, and test it out. Go over to thedigitalgal.com/Restream and check it out for yourself. So thank you very much, Restream, for sponsoring the show. Thank you very, 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 very much, Jen, for jumping on and geeking out with me on a topic that I never in my wildest dreams would ever expect you talking about, you and I talking about. So I'm very thrilled that you were able to join us.
I'm so thrilled that we got to do it, that we got to geek out, that we got to talk about one of your favorite topics, not just my favorite topic, and really get excited about it.
Our worlds really do keep colliding. I mean, everything...
It's kind of crazy.
It is, because everything on your end, when it comes to Instagram, you're Instagram, but you're also social media and digital marketing strategy, but you're heavily on the organic side. So as soon as somebody says, hey, how does that pertain to ads? You're like, whoop, go talk to that girl. And now that we're doing this... Now that chatbots are now coming about, it's like, oh my gosh, the synergies of getting... Because again, folks, with bots, if you build it, they will come. No. If you build a bot, it can be like the dating bot where it just sits parked collecting dust for the longest time. So you definitely need ads eventually down the road to be able to help you really boost this and leverage the different strategies. But this is a fantastic start. So thanks to everyone who was popping in. Thanks, Derek. Thank you, Lindy. Big shout out to Evie, to Stephanie, to Mike, to Juan, everybody who was in here. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you. And I will catch everybody next week on What in the Ads is Going On. Until then, stay safe, have fun, and go build a chatbot. Trust me.